Audio Jungle. Ah!
Hey y'all, Dave here at Bluebears Games, and welcome back to another episode of Blues Budget Battle Brews. This week's deck is actually an impromptu deck, and I'll explain that in a second. It's called No Pain, No Gain, and it is a red, white, or Boros colors deck. That's main focus is life gain, direct damage. Now, I have to explain a little bit about this deck before I get into it, just because this was an impromptu deck. A very good repeat customer of mine came to me. He buys a lot of my decks, and he usually buys my black-green decks, but he wanted to get something for his son. He gave me some parameters on what he was looking for. I didn't have it made at the time. I last night went through, and I'm making this video early. I'm going to release it for him so his son can watch the video and see how to play the deck. But I made it last night, and my parameters were he wants to do direct damage and gain life. And yeah, that's normal in Magic, that's what you want to do, but he wanted specifically to do it with flying creatures and red direct damage. Now, we know that there are cards in Magic that are red-white that do damage and gain life, but there's not many, right? So the theme had to fit flying, direct damage, and life gain, and the only way I could think about doing that was doing flying life-linking creatures. Now, when you do the research on that, there aren't as many as you would think with flying and lifelink, especially with the availability of some of the cards being a little older. So, for instance, I do not have the 2-drop that's available in Magic because it's an older card and I just didn't have any. So, I had to go around that and see how I could do that. So, we're going to go over this deck and I'll show you how I did it. This is actually not going to be available again. Well, maybe it will. I think I'll be able to add this to the rotation of the other Blues Budget Battle Brews, as long as there's interest in it. And I guess you guys got to tell me if there is. So, again, this may be added to the rotation. This is a one-off, but it's actually a pretty good deck, so I'm going to do that. Before I start going over the deck fully, if you do not know what Blues Budget Battle Brews are about, and would like to know more about them, and there will be a lot, please go and watch my explanation video that I have, and I'll put a link in the description of this video, and at the top right, you'll see a little card that pops up, and that'll have... you can click on that and it'll bring you right to the video as well. When you watch that explanation video, it will give you everything you need to know about what the series is all about how these are for sale. Plus, there's a nice little giveaway at the end of the explanation video that's explained that may interest you, so please go check it out if you not have already done so. And one more last thing before we get started as well. I have to mention this because it's actually an issue. While this deck is not sleeved, I can assure you that I wash my hands thoroughly before starting each video. For those of you that are concerned about these being ruined, please understand. I handle all of my cards that I own with the same care as if each were like a Black Lotus. I constantly clean my hands before handling them, and that includes while building the decks, even when opening the packs that these cards come from. So, I have to get that out of the way beforehand. So, let's get into the deck now. And let me zoom out a little bit so you can see. So, again, I wanted to go with as many of the life gain part of it has to be, with flying, had to be flying life linkers. There aren't a lot of them, and I wanted to keep this deck simple because it's for a beginner, but still powerful enough to actually win a game or two, maybe 3 or 4, and fill in the gaps where I didn't have the ability to get a flying lifelinker. So, luckily, recently, Healer's Hawk was printed. It's a 1-cast, 1/1 flying lifelink. It's probably the most ability I've seen on a 1-cast that are beneficial I've ever seen. So I put a playset of those in. I wanted to do this combo here, and this is one of my favorite things to do. I do it on Arena. I wanted to pair a 1/1 lifelinker, a 1-cast lifelinker with the Johnny's Pridemate, so I could do that now. It's a 2-cast 2/2, and then it says whenever you gain life, you can put a +1/+1 counter on a Johnny's Pridemate. So I want to let you know, this is one of the rules. It's like 108.3 or something like that. I don't remember the rule. That each time a creature with lifelink deals damage to an opponent, that's an instance of gaining life. So it would get counters for each instance of a creature that attacked with lifelink that hits something. So keep that in mind. So I put a play set of those in there because that'll help make these grow stronger throughout the game, because the whole idea here is to gain life. So these are going to get pretty big. I could not get the 3-drop to be flying and lifelink just because I didn't have any. I think the only one out there is like accordion responder. It's a dwarf that's a 2/3 flying lifelink vigilance or something like that, and have any. The next best thing I could come up with was Kemba Skyguard. It's 3 to cast, 2/2 and flying. And when it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life. So it essentially does the same thing. It's not lifelink, but it's still life gain. So I put a play set of those in there. Lightkeeper of Emeria, same thing happened with the 4-drop. Most of the 4-drops, because remember, Blues Budget Battle Brews have 3 rares and then 1 flex spot of either a foil rare, a rare, or a mythic. Didn't have any of the 4-drops that I could put in here that would make sense. I wanted more than 1, and I didn't want to use the rare spot here for the 4, because then that would be 4 of 1 card in the rare spot and then nothing else. So I found Lightkeeper of Emeria. It's a 4 to cast, 2/2 with multi-kicker, and what that means is that each you can pay the 1 and 3 and it comes in as a 2/4, or you can add another white, and for each extra white you pay into it, it comes into play and you gain 2 life for each time you paid the 1. You can only do that when you cast it though, keep that in mind. It's also flying, so it's flying, it helps you gain life, and there you go. Got a play set of those in there. Firemane Avenger, it's Boros color, so it's red, white, and 2. It's a 3/3 flyer. Has Battalion, which means whenever it attacks and at least 2 other creatures attack with it, it deals 3 damage to any target and you gain 3 life. So that gives it that Lightning Helix or War Leader's Helix type of effect where you're dealing the damage and gaining life, and that's what was requested. Baneslayer Angel is the 5-drop. It is a 5/5 flyer with first strike and lifelink, so there's that flying and lifelink they were looking for. And then the little cherry on top is it has protection from demons and from dragons. It's not as relevant today as it was when this first came out way back in the day, but it's still relevant. It still has protection from something. So for 5/5 for 5, and it has all these abilities, that's really good. The last creature is Victory's Herald. It's 3 white and 3 of any. It's a 4/4 flyer, and whenever it attacks, attacking creatures you control gain flying and lifelink. So anybody who didn't catch the flying and or lifelink now has it. So it fits the theme of the deck that I was trying to make. So that's all the creatures. We're going to go into the instance now for the direct damage. We put a play set of shocks because it's one of the more efficient and more common ones that I could have. The 2-drop or the 2-cast one is Reality Hemorrhage. It's 2 to cast, it's an instant, and deals 2 damage to a creature or player. And it's devoid, and what that means is that it has no color, which means if something has protection from red, it does not have protection from this. Tormenting Voice I put in there for the weakness of red and white is card draw. So, well, more so white than anything else, but I wanted to be able to, if you have too many lands in hand and you want to draw something better, Tormenting Voice does the job for you. So I've got a play set of those in there. The 3 cast for the direct damage is Annihilating Fire. It's 3 to cast, so it's 2 red and 1. It deals 3 damage to a target creature or player, and I wanted to make sure all of the stuff I put in here as far as direct damage dealt it to any target I wanted. There are things that do just a creature or just a player. I wanted to make sure this did everything, so Annihilating Fire fit the theme. And then if a creature dealt damage this way would die, exile it instead. So play set of those. And I mentioned before the helixes. I did not have lightning helixes because they're older and I don't have any that I can spare. So the next best thing is War Leader's Helix. It is 4 to cast, so it's 1 red, 1 white, and 2 of any. It deals 4 damage to any target, and then you gain 4 life. So there's that deal damage, gain life thing that was asked for. So I got a play set of those. And the final non-land card here is Lure Hold Command. It's a newer card. It was just printed in Strixhaven. Red and white, 3 of any. You can choose 2 of the following. You can create a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. Not really probably going to do that. The next 3 may be the things that you use. So creatures you control get +1/+0, gain indestructible and haste until end of turn, so you can attack without fear. And one of the things I'm going to tell you that I found with allies, I actually played an ally deck for many a year. When you have lifelink and indestructible, attacking without any fear of anything dying and just going balls to the walls with lifelink, really beneficial. And in this deck, especially with the Johnny's Pride Mate, it actually goes a long way. It also has the line of Lure Hold command, deals 3 damage to any target, and target player gains 3 life. So there's that doing damage and getting life theme again. And then you can also sacrifice a permanent to draw 2 cards. So very helpful stuff there. Again, I think in this deck, the mode that won't be used out of the that when you choose to would probably not be the 3/2 red and white spirit creature token, just because it doesn't have flying or lifelink. But you know, you never know what's going on. And as far as the lands go, so we're a 2-color deck, so I've got 2 Evolving Wilds in here, so you can mana fix. And what I mean by that, if you don't know what that means, is if you only have 1 color out on play and you draw an Evolving Wilds, at least you can go get the other color, because we're in 2 colors. I went with Windscarred Crag for the dual land that we chose for this deck. Normally I choose Gates, but this deck wants to gain life as often as possible and from as many different sources as possible. And this one, when it comes into play, you gain a life. So that actually adds to the Johnny's Pride Mate. You can have one out, play a Windscarred Crag, and a Johnny's Pride Mate gets a counter. So it's all good right there. Play a set of those. And then, of course, some mountains and some plains. So normally at this time, so that is the my no pain, no gain deck that I kind of made on the fly for a customer. And I may add that to rotation as far as the Blues Budget Brews. Normally, I usually go into my tip of the week. I think I'm going to actually eliminate that from future videos unless something big comes up that needs to be addressed. Just because there are so many aspects of Magic, and I can't keep up with how many different points there are, and it keeps adding a lot of time to the videos, and I want to kind of cut the time on these videos down. So we're going to skip out on the tips of the week unless something really important happens. So I apologize if you liked the tips of the week. Let me know, and I'll go ahead and add them back when more and more as we go. But going further, I'm just going to eliminate that. So I want to thank you for your taking the time to watch and learn about this brew, especially to the person who's purchased this deck and will be giving it to the person who's playing it. That's going to be more important than anything. Please remember to show your support for this channel and to me by doing the following: liking this video. It's really important that you like the video because it helps my analytics, number 1, and number 2, it puts it more visible out on the front page of YouTube. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet. That would be lovely as well. We did hit 300 recently, and I know I promised that I'm going to give a code away. I need some feedback from people as to what code they want. I can't do anything until they give me that. And then sharing this out through the various different platforms at your disposal. There's, Facebook, there's Twitter, there's I don't think Instagram, there's TikTok. I don't know. Whatever you can share this out to, that would be lovely. Specifically, I'd love it if you could share it out to anybody who may be interested in this deck, whether it be just to learn how to build like this, or if they're potentially interested in purchasing it. Speaking of the purchasing part, if you or someone you know may possibly be interested in a deck like this, remember, this one has sold this version. I will be making a similar version of this deck to sell as well. And I will, so all these videos are for the basic idea. And then when I have a deck for sale and I give you the deck list, it'll be mostly similar, but it will have some small changes here and there. So if they're interested in that, my Blues Budget Battle Brews, the pricing is actually quite friendly. So that's $20 a deck. And I'm still playing around. I said a week or 2 ago that I'm going to change the pricing on things, and I'm still playing with that. So I'm either going to go with it's going to be $20 for the first deck and then $6 shipping, and then they're $20 a deck after that, but there's no shipping charge, or I'm going to go with it's $20 for the first deck or $15 for 2 or more decks each, and then I'll charge shipping. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do yet. I'm going to play with that and see what people like. And it's, it just depends on what ends up being the best for everybody. So like I said, I do offer a considerable discount for multiple decks purchased at the same time, but we're still going over all that. I do have other decks for sale that are not in the regular 60 card realm. I do commander decks as well. I actually sold a lot of them. I'm down to I think 5 of the 13 that I made, so I got to still start making more of them. And those are $40 a piece, and they follow the same line that these do, where I'm still playing around with it, if it's going to be $40 a deck and free shipping after the first one, after you buy more than one, or if I'm going to do the discount that I was doing. The discount is a little confusing to some people, so I'm trying to eliminate the confusion for everybody. So again, if you know anybody that may be interested in purchasing this, or if you yourself may be interested in purchasing this deck or any of the other decks that I have that I'm making, just go ahead and contact me in one of several ways. The easiest way is to click on the link in the description that goes to my Facebook page and send me a message there. I have gotten recently a store on Facebook, so what's going to happen is I'm going to actually have a link to this specific deck or any of the decks that are in each specific video, and I'm going to put them a link to the actual ad on my store. Now, you can't directly purchase it from there. You still have to contact me to make the purchase, just because currently Facebook is doing a validation process for my store. I'm allowed to list, but I'm not allowed to ship yet. And once that gets done, I can ship, but I can't do it through the Facebook Pay. I can do it through PayPal. I can do it through Zelle. And if there's any other way, let me know what other ways that you'd like to pay. I'll see if I can get it, if I don't already have it, and we'll go over it from there. After the Facebook page, you can email me at bluebearsgames@gmail.com or put a comment in the comment section below, and we'll figure out how we can contact each other outside of the realm of YouTube. So, other than that, let's see. I take suggestions for decks as well. This is a prime example of me taking suggestions for decks. If you don't see one that I have already previously made, if you make a suggestion to me and I can make a budget version of it, please let me know. I'm more than happy. My passion in Magic is to build decks for people to play and win with. So that's why I do this. And I would, if you want to go ahead and send me a suggestion, we'll go ahead and do that. Other than that, that is my time for the week. I want to thank you again for watching. Please remember to do the like, subscribe, and share. And if you have any questions, comments, or even suggestions, please feel free to contact me again through the Facebook, email me, or comment section below. And I'll be more than happy to go over anything that you would like. So please stay safe, enjoy your week, and I will see you all next week.